driver made a big U-turn, went all the way up to Palm Beach County, got back on the turnpike again, endangering so many people's lives, going, it looks to be, if Ralph's speedometer is correct here, well over 100 miles an hour. A lot of times in the shoulder or the breakdown lanes of the left and right side, just flying past all these cars there on the turnpike. The good news is, if there is any, there does seem to be light traffic, thank goodness. And, you know, a lot of people listen to their music. Cars. Go ahead, Ralph. You need to say something?
Okay. Yeah, every once in a while I can hear your voice, and I'm glad I can. Thank you. We're just passing Executive Airport. That's going to be Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport, and that's in the area of Commercial Boulevard southbound on the turnpike. Here you see this white Lexus sport vehicle coming up to Commercial, as we said, and traveling, as you said, at a high rate of speed here, trying to elude police officers. They are on their radios, they are in the helicopter, they are on the in their cruisers, and they are following and pursuing this vehicle as he takes the exit ramp. Joe, he's going to be curving around in front of us right here. He can go either way. We just have to see here now if he's going to go east or west when he gets to the base of the exit here. But he's coming around, making a sweeping left-hand turn here. He's going to go around slower traffic very dangerously there as he goes over the overpass of the turnpike here, just towards Commercial. He's slowing down. And it looks like we're going to have a bailout here. At least one person is getting out of the vehicle. You see somebody with a gun, with a rifle there, trying to get somebody out of the vehicle. Again, we caution our viewers that that person was not going to let him in. Wow. Very dangerous situation here. Frightening for the driver there of that vehicle as it continues now, that white vehicle. So again, our warning to people at home as we air this video live that we have no control over what's going to be happening down there. We provide the pictures and the commentary. And Lynn, I'll toss it back to you here just for a second here.
Yeah, that was incredible. I don't think we've seen that ever, at least not in my experience here on television. That we saw the suspect in the passenger side get out of the car. Looks like he had some sort of weapon in his hand, tried to get to the stranger in the car behind him, couldn't get in the car, and then jump back into this white Lexus that police say was stolen. Wow, sign of major desperation. And then goodness, that driver in that gray car kept his or her wits about him or her and did not open the door or roll down the window.
They're going to try it again. They're going to try it again. Both parked the vehicle, both getting out now with a gun. Trying to get somebody to get out of the vehicle here. They're threatening the person to get out of the vehicle to get the keys. They're forcing the car door open here. They've got the person to get that person out. Tell them.
Again, I want to warn people, this is a live picture. This is a breaking story. You just witnessed a crime
That vehicle's
happen.
Backing up. It's hit the other vehicle. Now we have officers arriving here at gunpoint here. Weapons drawn. Backing up. We're going to stay with the vehicle. We have a bailout. We have one person running. We know that person's going to be taken into custody there. Now the vehicle has been switched to a Tesla. There's a police car that just missed that vehicle. They're going to be backing up here. They're going towards that vehicle. They know that there are rifles involved here. The police department knows that there are rifles. They just hit another car. We're going to provide these pictures here. They just alluded there. We've seen now a police officer ram it with his truck. He's got his weapon drawn. He's telling the guy to get out of that vehicle, to stand down. We'll see what happens here, but we're going to stay on this picture as we believe the other suspect is now either being taken we believe he's being taken into custody, but we're going to stay in this picture, obviously.
Right, and if we could move that banner and see the police officer down to the left there, thanks, Ralph, demanding that this driver get out of the car. I guess you could call it a pit maneuver. Successfully stopped this driver from the second stolen car. We saw a few minutes ago the passenger
car doors open, Lynn. He's getting out. He's on the ground. He's on the ground. He's complying with police orders there to give it up. Give it up, and now he's going to try to make a run for it. He's not going to get far. He's not going to get far.
Live picture of the suspect, the driver taking off on foot. Yeah. Ralph's got a nice
he's in
wide
the yard
picture
there between the two houses there. We'll try to stay with him here. We have the police officers from multi-agencies here. He's now crossed over the roadway there.
Looks like he's taking off a jacket. He had a black jacket on, crossing the roadway, going into maybe this canal, it looks like, getting in the water.
Looks like he is, yeah. He's jumped into the water there.
Swimming.
He's jumped into the water.
Okay, so.
Oh, my.
Okay, so he took off his black jacket. He's swimming. Maybe, I think he might have even taken off his shoes. Looks like socks there, I'm not sure. Swimming to the other side of the canal.
Yeah, there's a police helicopter right above telling the agents where all the officers where he is. They can see him right now. The guy's telling them, where are you going to go? What are you going to do there?
There you
They're
can see him.
sending officers to the other side of the street here, to the other block. He's now, let's see where he's right, well, he's in between two houses there, so we're just going to hang right here. He's got to come out one side or the other.
Well, and you hope to God that the people in these homes either are not home and their doors are locked. I mean, just the brazen crimes that we saw happen in the last 20 minutes by these two suspects.
All right, he's now moved in between these two homes. He's running across the street right here. Yeah, as you said before, he shedded his jacket and he's just in the neighborhood. I don't know if he's familiar with this area and he's going home or trying to get home. That does happen sometimes in these cases where the suspect or the person that's being pursued by police just tries to get home. He's getting winded. Adrenaline is probably pretty much drained out of him right now, so he's going to slow down here very shortly. But again, the police helicopter is above and telling the officers where he is, giving them an exact description, reading off a map of exactly where this guy is. So we are going to stay with this. The other scene is behind us now. For people who are just tuning in, there was a police chase that covered a couple of counties involving a
looks like he's taking a breather, Ralph.
Yeah.
You're looking at a suspect right there in the white shirt on the right-hand side trying to elude police. To the left of your picture is what just happened in the last few minutes. He was driving that stolen white van, and now he's picking up, again, a little light jog without any shoes, wet clothes, after he's trying to get into that car, maybe trying to break into a house.
He's trying the car now. He may be trying the front door of this house right here. So we'll bring the camera back out here and see if we can get information as to exactly what this address is for you.
So we're in central Broward County, and you just watched.
Right off of Northwest 54th Street is going to be the address here, just to the south of, I believe, just to the south of Commercial Boulevard.
Let me just jump in. What you're looking at, viewers, if you're just now joining us, to the left is the end of a very, very dangerous police chase of an alleged stolen vehicle. That happened, the pictures on your left happened just a few minutes ago. The picture to your right is a live picture brought to you by Ralph and Joe of the suspect who's taking off on foot after swimming in that canal and just running through the neighborhood, seemingly aimlessly, looking for, trying that van, the door of the van, trying to open it, and is somewhere around that particular house. And you can see, I mean, police are hot on his tail. They know exactly where he's at.
The police have just shown up at the house. They're here at the house, being guided by the aviation unit from Dade County. They patch all the radios together. This woman right here is telling them, just told the police officers, I saw this guy running through in my backyard. And now had come next door. He was looking at the, I guess that's a Honda there. That Honda SUV, trying to jiggle the handle of the door right there, but they do have an officer now stationed in front of the house. It does not appear at this point that the person, the suspect who was weaponized there, who had a rifle at one point, got rid of, or at least left the rifle in the vehicle when he started to give up. And as we showed you that live, it looked like he was going to what's the word I'm looking for? When he was going to give up. Surrender.
Right.
He was going to surrender, and then he jumped up and fled, wearing that red hoodie, and which he took off, and as he jumped in the canal there to try to elude the police, but it's going to be to no avail here right now.
Let's look at this. Stay with your live picture right here. So we have a police officer there at the bottom of our screen behind this, looks like silver van. And it looks like the garage to that particular door may be open, or maybe it's one of those, garages.
Yeah, so we've got more, we have a K-9 officer here now. K-9 officer just arriving. We've got other officers here. They've identified the house. They know the location. They know the suspect's in there somewhere. They'll either use the dog quickly here, or do a reassessment. Of course, the information that's being broadcast over the radio is that these subjects are armed, so of course police are going to take all precaution. But right now they pretty much have the house surrounded. They're going to make sure there's no escape path, no escape route for this, and hopefully this will land here in the next couple of minutes.
Well, I mean, this particular suspect certainly has communicated that he is not giving up. So if we want to go over what we just saw in the last 30 minutes or so, high-speed, dangerous chase through several counties, big U-turn back here in Broward County, trying to carjack one particular driver to get out. The driver did not get out of the vehicle. successfully carjacked another driver in that white van at gunpoint and then took off with one of the suspects running and this particular suspect getting in the car, being hit by police and taking off on foot, swimming through the canal, running through neighborhoods, and now somewhere in the vicinity of this particular home refusing also to give up. Look what you're seeing on your left-hand side there. That was the first attempted carjacking that we saw live here on the air. They tried to get in that gray car, didn't work, kept going, kept driving, stopped at another side road, put a gun out to another driver, looked to be in a white van, and that driver got out. What that person must have been feeling, what the fear that must have been going through him, put his hands up, let his car be taken over, and that's when they crashed the white van, and police got one of the suspects who took off on foot, and the second, I think this might have been the driver, yes, this was the driver on the left-hand side of that stolen white van who just took off from police on foot, took off his shoes, took off his black jacket, and swam across this canal and ran through several neighborhoods. And the end result is the live picture that you're looking at on the right-hand side. The suspect is somewhere in the vicinity of this particular home that police are at. Several, well, I think at least one canine, but several officers on ground and in the air trying to get their guy. So, Ralph, we saw him the last we saw him run was was around that silver van that's parked in the driveway. Is that correct?
Right. As it turns out, Lynn, from this side of the coming around to this side of the house here, we can see what appears that the garage door is open to the house. Right. Whether he had the passcode to it, or whether it was open because somebody else was there, or whether he knocked on the door and they opened the garage. We don't know what happened, but you can see the garage door right in front of those two vehicles is open, and we believe, and I think the police down there believe that he is inside the house right now. You can see we've got officers with canine officers both in front and behind the house right now, all around the house with weapons drawn, ready for any possibility, any outcome here. So, and the police officers are heavily armed here. For folks who just turned in a short time ago, just tuning in right now, there was a vehicle that was taken in an armed carjacking down in South Dade. They put out a bolo for that vehicle. It was a white Lexus sports type vehicle, capable of high rates of speed, which they displayed during the police chase that occurred after that vehicle was spotted based on its license tag number on a plate reader down in Dade County. They launched their aviation unit, or that aviation unit was up. That's a helicopter. It spotted the vehicle, followed it, got on the radio, was patched together with both Broward County and all the other agencies that are in that area from down deep in South Dade all the way up here, and they followed that vehicle up the turnpike. It took them on a crazy ride all the way up past the Sawgrass Expressway up into deep Broward County, right on the edge of Palm Beach County, drove around in the neighborhoods, driving in the wrong lanes of traffic into oncoming traffic, blowing traffic lights and stop signs, putting civilians at great danger. In the meantime, the police department, using the helicopter, just stayed above with units from the Florida Highway Patrol and from Miami-Dade Police Department following behind. And of course, when it got up into Broward, the Broward Sheriff's Office also got their people involved with this and in the pursuit of this vehicle, but from a safe distance there, and let the helicopter call out where the vehicle was and what they were doing. At the point where the weapons were shown, early in that bolo, they said that there were automatic rifles were used in that robbery attempt, the armed carjacking. So police, of course, were super cautious with that. And then we saw live on the air a passenger of one vehicle at an intersection get out and display that weapon, trying to get the driver of the vehicle on the exit ramp of the turnpike to Commercial Boulevard there to come eastbound, to try to get him to get out of the vehicle. That person did not comply. The passenger got back in the car. It fled again for a better part of maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and then stopped again at an intersection behind a vehicle, in front of a vehicle, and this time the driver got out with the weapon, pointed it at the driver. The driver complied, got out of the vehicle, let the suspect have the vehicle. He got inside, and at that point, a number of police officers responding. The car was hit several times. It also bumped into several vehicles as it tried to flee, and then an officer just pulled in and walloped that vehicle, that Tesla, with his pickup truck, and then came out of the driver's side door with his weapon drawn, telling that driver to give it up. It appeared then the door opened on the suspect's vehicle, the second vehicle of the suspect, and he complied by laying down on the ground, and then I don't know, he just jumped up, and we watched him as he ran across the roadway there trying to get away. Police officers pursued. He jumped into a canal. He shed some clothing that he was wearing. We then saw him a short time later gassed and exhausted from all this exertion trying to get away. He came to this house that we're focused on right now, where you see the police vehicles parked in front of it and around it. It'll bring the camera back out here. I see we're double boxing here. And they now believe that the suspect is on the property here, possibly inside the house, and it's completely surrounded. Officers very heavily armed here, waiting for the next direction of exactly how they're going to pursue this. So we're going to hang on this picture and toss it back to you, Lynn.
Ralph, that was a very complete summary. We have a little update from police. There is some good news. The second suspect, this person's alleged accomplice, is in police custody. So now they're just working on getting this one suspect out of this house. It looks like definitely we're looking at a standoff. Would you anticipate, Ralph, SWAT to show up and this to become more of a scene?
Yeah, that. If you can, we're having some communication issues here, but if you can hear me, yeah, I concur. We're trying to find the channel that they're operating on here, but it appears that they're try to be sensible with this and make sure that if there's any, first of all, they're trying to identify the home, and the homeowner make contact with people inside and make a determination if there is anybody home. If there's no one home, then they're going to try to find somebody who knows the layout of the house. And by doing that, they'll know how many rooms are there, how many bathrooms there, if there's a utility room, any egress, any place the person could get into or get out of, if there's attic space, crawl space, all the different things that the police do in this type of situation when they have a wanted suspect who was armed and may still be possibly be armed, who's on the loose.
Very dangerous situation right now in this standoff for police and for neighbors. It is interesting to see that there are two parked cars out of this particular home, and we did see a few moments ago that suspect try the handle of that. It looks like it's a silver van or SUV, and it was locked. And this either garage didn't have a door. The front door's opening.
Front door.
Yep. Let's watch.
Front door. He's coming. Somebody's coming out. This is him. That's the guy in the red shorts right there. Here, let me double it up here.
He's got his hands up.
There you go.
Took his shirt off, turning around, complying with police seemingly.
All right.
Out in his socks.
We could say it ended peacefully, I guess. I don't know. He's going to be taken to the ground here. Joey, got to go forward. Here we go. Thank you, Joe. Excellent job, Joe. All right. They've got their man. Not taking any chances. Anytime, I guess, you point a gun at anybody, you've got to be really super careful with what's going on. They have him. They're going to get his hands cuffed here, place him in custody.
Wow, this was an amazing end to a very, very stressful and dangerous 40 minutes. Police have in their custody the second suspect involved in the alleged carjacking of several cars. One being the white Lexus that police were chasing for 30 minutes, mainly on the turnpike. His accomplice, his alleged accomplice, is in custody, and now he's in custody. Shocking that he came out of the house, hands up, without seemingly any weapons, and this ended this way, because all of his alleged actions showed us this afternoon that he was not going to stop at anything. Stopping poor innocent drivers in the middle of the street, he and his alleged accomplice with guns drawn to them, demanding they get out of their car. We saw one driver not get out of the car, the second driver, a man, this poor guy, get out. His car was taken over and used as a getaway for a few yards to get away from police.
Lynn,
go ahead, Ralph.
Let me fix my zoom here 1 second here. We want to give you the area that this is in here. We're going to bring the camera back out because they do have that suspect in custody. We are west of where's the airport? We're south of Commercial Boulevard, west of the Turnpike here in a residential community. This all playing out here in the last 25 or 30 minutes here. Guns drawn like we haven't seen very often, and very alarming there on city streets where there's where there are pedestrians and where there are civilian traffic and people just going about their daily lives there, unaware, unassuming of anything that's going on there. And the police department here responding on with multiple agencies and taking that suspect, 2 suspects into custody, wanted for an armed carjacking that involved long rifles and AK-47 type rifles earlier this morning. So.
What a petrifying afternoon,
yeah.
yes, for police and for those innocent drivers that you mentioned. Okay, let's go over. Nobody was, as far as we know, physically injured, certainly probably scared to death. A couple of cars have some damage to them, but overall, it appears to be a very successful end to a very, very dangerous afternoon. Police finding their suspects, 2 are in custody. 1 in particular here really tried to get away from police, including, as Ralph said, swimming across that canal, running through neighborhoods, but finally ran into that house in the center of your screen, or to the right there with the gray roof, and came out just a few minutes ago. You saw live here on Channel 7 with his hands up, in his socks, looked like underwear, no shirt on, and surrendering to police peacefully. Wow.
Yeah. Lynn, if you're wondering, people at home are wondering right now, because they're still trying to make contact with the owner of their house, they're not sure if there's anybody else in the house or exactly whose house it is and how the driver there, the suspect, gained access to the house. So they're going to probably have to do a search of the house to wrap up that portion of their investigation. But you can tell by the body language of these officers now that the highly critical mass that they were approaching there has passed by right now, and they do have that suspect in custody.
Okay, Ralph, thank you very much. And Joe, of course, you're a pilot. We're a team here. Appreciate the live pictures of a very stressful afternoon, but ended up with what could be a good ending, you might say, with no physical injuries as far as we know. And these 2 suspects, we would imagine, are facing a long list of charges for endangering the lives of so many. We'll have complete coverage on 7 News at 4. For Ralph Rayburn and Joe, I'm Lynn Martinez. Now back to programming.